Justice Rawal's role is not to support any side. It is to support justice and to make sure that the provisions under the Rome Statute and the provisions under our own implementing legislation, which is the International Crimes Act of 2008, are adhered to.
A lot of speculation, I'm sure you've go around the country, about certain ministers who have allegedly received letters and alleged panic within the government. First of all, if it is true, not to speculate, but if they have received these letters, what does that mean?
We will not know, because the prosecutor, according to what the Rome Statute provides, has to finish his investigation, has to then go and present the indictment for confirmation. After he does the investigation, he may actually conclude that there's not enough evidence to support.
Something that Kenyans cannot even think about right now.
Well, they should be thinking about it, because, you know, depending on what he finds and what the strength of the evidence is, it is based on that evidence that then he prepares an indictment, which he then has to still take to the ICC, and that indictment has to be confirmed.
Which is why we do not have any idea really and in detail what the ICC investigators have been doing on the ground, because they have been around.
They've been around, and clearly people don't have an idea what it is they're doing. If they're doing their work well, then people should not know who they are targeting until they issue the indictment. The ICC's jurisdiction is not to find communities, or as we like to call it, tribes, guilty of offenses. The ICC has jurisdiction over individual criminal responsibility. First of all, the person that is being charged with individual criminal responsibility as a commander needed to have actually had either what the lawyers call de jure command or authority, or de facto command or authority. So de jure is when the law provides for it. Like for example, take the commissioner of police or the military commander or the president. These are people with de jure, legal authority to command other people under them. There are other types of command. There's policy command and there's strategic command. For example, party leaders, militia leaders. Those are de facto leaders with command, because they command, you know, their militias. There's another aspect of command responsibility which is important, and I'll mention it briefly, which is those commanders must have the ability to prevent and punish the activity, the violation from happening. So if indeed commanders are being investigated in this country, one of the questions that will be asked, did they have the authority to prevent the commission of offenses? For example, issue orders that police must not have guns when they go to quell riots and so on, or must not shoot on sight and so forth. Or did they have command responsibility to order their militia to pull back and not to kill people either with machetes or with stones,
and they chose to
or to
ignore
burn you know, houses and so on? And also, did they punish? Because they have authority to punish. Every commander, de jure or de facto, has authority to punish.
What happens if there is no case according to the ICC?
Well, I think what we ought to do, regardless whether the process is moving on or not, is we ought to establish a local tribunal. And, you know, we've been saying this for the longest time. People didn't take it seriously. You remember initially the debate was that the local tribunal would do exactly what these people are now saying the ICC is doing, which is target people based on ethnic identity, which of course is complete nonsense, really, if one was to think about it, you know, rationally. But the Minister for Justice was right. And unfortunately, again, the chatter became too loud and we were unable to really hear what he was saying. What he was saying, I think, is that even if we get a case, and even if the court confirms the case, because there's a possibility that, you know, the indictment may not be confirmed, and so on. So who punishes the freelance perpetrators, the people who did the rapes, who are known, the people who burnt the houses, who are known, the people who killed others with machetes, who are known, and so on. These are people who are known, and those are the crimes they committed are crimes under Kenyan law, which should be punished. So if we're not going to do it under our revamped judicial system, which is what I think Mutula was saying, Mutula then was making the point that probably we don't need a tribunal of any sort because we're going to have the new judiciary.
Yes.
But there's another side of that coin is to argue that perhaps we do need a special tribunal because it may take us time to vet judges and to put that new judicial order in place to allow us to be, objective in prosecuting.